So that's pretty interesting. That's a little bit of a different take on the atom, and that's what we're going to be starting to learn about in chapter 4. So this is your first experience with video notes. So I want to make sure that you have your chapter 1 lesson, or chapter 4 lesson 1 notes. And those look like this. Okay? Should say chapter 4 lesson 1 at the top. Okay? Chapter 4 lesson 1 notes. You have some definitions you're going to write, and then pictures that you're going to draw. So we're going to start with our slides. Sorry about that. Change the resolution here. This is my first time with this too, so I hope everybody can get what we're doing. But, so you have the atom is the basic unit of matter. Okay, and you may have heard a little bit about that. It's the smallest thing. So just like a cell is the smallest unit of living stuff, the atom is the smallest unit of matter. So matter, we have to know what that means first, is anything that has mass and takes up space. So anything that has mass and takes up space is termed matter. And I gave you a few examples on the bottom. The boys of One Direction, they are made up of matter. Pizza, which is my favorite food, is made up of matter. Everything from those things to the most tall mountain is all made up of matter. And guys, at any time, if you need to pause this, go ahead and hit pause so that you can write if I'm taking too much time. So in that square next to, or the rectangle next to the matter definition, I want you to draw a picture of something that will remind you of what matter is. Something that has mass and takes up space. So we're going to talk about the structure of an atom a little bit. An atom is a really little particle that makes up all of matter. So there's two examples down there. There's a neon atom, and we'll get into what the protons and neutrons things mean in a minute, and they're on the left, and then there's a hydrogen atom on the right. So an atom, basic definition is it's a very small particle that makes up all matter. And in your spot there to draw a picture, you can pick either one of these atoms to draw and just copy it. We're going to talk about now the nucleus. So you saw in that first video clip that there's a nucleus in the middle of the atom, and then there's all those things that are flying around on the outside. So the nucleus is the portion of the atom that's in the middle, and it has most of the atom's mass. The particles that make up the nucleus are a lot bigger than those particles that you saw flying around the outside. So once again, nucleus in the middle, which you might have remembered from 7th grade science. The nucleus of a cell is in the middle, so it would be the same thing in an atom. Nucleus is in the middle, and it has the most of the mass. Inside that nucleus, there's a particle called a proton, and a proton is a positively charged particle in the nucleus. So it's easiest to think of positive protons. So both start with a P. So positive proton. A proton has a positive charge. And for that, on your notes here, okay, all you're going to do is you're going to put the charge. So write the definition for proton, and then that it's a positive charge, so it flies. Then we have in the nucleus the other particle, because there's always, or usually there's two, is the neutron. And the neutron is, you have this arrow here pointing to this. Remember, these are the protons, the ones with the positive charge. The neutrons have no charge. So they're just neutral. They have no charge at all. So an easy way to remember this is neutral, neutron. They both start with an N. So neutral, neutron, in the nucleus, no charge. And there again, in here, you're just going to put a 0. Write the definition for neutron, and then a 0. The last particle that makes up an atom is an electron, and that's a negatively charged particle that moves in the space around the nucleus. In that video clip you saw, those are those things flying around the outside, the really tiny ones, and at the end that they said would be really far away from the nucleus. So the electron is the negatively charged particle, and it's this little dot here. Now, the video we watched is correct in that they don't travel in circular orbits, but for drawing on two-dimensional things, it's easier to draw them that way. So that's why we have these here. It's the only one outside the nucleus. So the nucleus in here is made up of positive protons and neutral neutrons. And then the electrons travel outside the nucleus and they have a negative charge. Okay, so that concludes your notes. You should be able to go back if you need to and pause at any point. If you have questions, make sure that you write them down on the sides of your notes, things that you need maybe some clarification on or anything like that. And hopefully we can have a great day starting class tomorrow. So I'm just going to leave you with a cool video, if I can bring it up here. Okay, cool video by Steve Spangler, just cool site. Here you go.